And we thought long and hard about this, because here's the thing. And myself and producer Ricky, we sit down and we get our heads together, and we are, from the word go, frankly, I'm talking 6 a.m., 5:30 sometimes. We're scrambling away, looking at the big subjects, the issues. And we just really came up with the same question, almost simultaneously. The rule of 6, will you be obeying it? And when you consider the implications of it, I know there is a school of thought, well, just run with it, see how it goes. They're asking us to do it, so let's just see how it goes. 0344 499 1000. Today, not hours into the new law, I broke the law. I broke the rules. I mixed with multiple adults outside. In fact, there was about 20 of us, laughing and mingling as if nothing mattered. Not one of us mentioned the rules. No one acknowledged the new normal. We just kind of got on with it, all 20 of us. In fact, thinking about it, there's probably about 25 of us, all getting on with it. I should add, by the way, this was the school gates. My 2-year-old's first day at nursery. The excitable but nervous faces of parents had nothing to do with the rule of 6. There was no rule of 6. Now, here's the curious, that's all perfectly legit, of course. If one of those parents had suggested that a few of us go back to theirs for a coffee and sit in the back garden, socially distanced and sensible, further apart than we would have been at the school gates, we would have been breaking the law and could have been arrested for our post-school drop-off endeavours. That would have been illegal. This, of course, is the news that restrictions banning social gatherings of more than 6 people are now in effect. As COVID cases keep rising, the rule of 6 applies both indoors and outdoors in England and Scotland, and indoors only in Wales. I mean, the difference in these rules does make you think what a nonsense these things could be. England's restrictions affect everyone, but children under 11 in Wales and under 12 in Scotland are exempt. What the country the size of a postage stamp? Can they not just all get together and say, right, why don't we just have one rule that kind of works all over the place? These are the latest figures, by the way. The number of people in the UK who have tested positive for coronavirus has increased by 3,330. Another 5 people in England have died after testing positive for COVID-19 within the past 28 days. And coronavirus cases in Scotland have hit a 4-month high for the second day in a row. 0344 499 1000. Will you be obeying the rule of 6? Now, I don't think anybody wants to deliberately get complacent. But the one thing I think we've probably all learned more than anything else in the last 4 or 5 months, and I think I'm right on this, is that there is nothing definitive about any of this advice. I can talk about the differing advice between Wales and Scotland and England and Northern Ireland, but of course you could go over the sea, just 20 odd miles across the channel, and the advice will be different again in France. Go further south, it'll be different again in Spain. Go further east, it'll be different in Germany and Belgium and Holland. And you look at all of this, and then of course you hear somebody like Lord Sumption, and we played a little clip of him there, but he made the wider case about the damage elsewhere that is caused by various elements of lockdown. As he said there, you can have a certain rule, but what about all the other rules that have to go by the wayside? What about the people not getting medical treatment? What about the people who are totally isolated? What about those people who've been shielding for months, thinking, surely this is coming to an end now. We must be surely on the path to some kind of conclusion. Only to be told, and it looks as if this week we may get some more robust advice about vulnerable groups, where maybe those groups will be told to shield all over again. Imagine being about 85, living on your Todd, and being told, yeah, it's another 3 months, another 4 months. I mean, that would kill a lot of people in itself. No, I'm not suggesting we go hugging and mingling with people who might be elderly and vulnerable. I don't know the answer. What I do know is that I don't think anyone else does either. And that's really central to this, isn't it? That's central to the reason why we're scratching our head on this and thinking, okay, rule of 6, including kids, unless you live in Scotland, then it doesn't include kids. Well, it does, but, if they're over 12. Unless you live in Wales, by the way, then it's 11. Unless you go to France, where it's different again. and then Belgium and Netherlands, and the list goes on. And that's the problem I think we've got, is that, and it's not just our politicians. I mean, I'll bang on forever the curious demise of Boris Johnson's popularity, and bearing in mind this is a Prime Minister, despite events, that should be in his honeymoon period. This is the honeymoon, by the way, 80-seat majority. What, 8 months ago? This is the honeymoon, kids. You shouldn't have an opposition leader getting anywhere, shouldn't be in the same postcode as opinion polls to a Prime Minister at this stage, regardless of what is going on. So I scratch my head that he's doing quite poorly in the polls. Nicola Sturgeon doing rather well. Same advice, same deal, pretty much the same numbers, death rates, etc. I don't understand that either. Similarly, if you go to Spain, for example, you won't find the same mobilised angst against their administrations. And we spoke to a Swedish journalist on the programme last week, and she was saying their government has never been more popular, despite having the 5th highest death rate in Europe. So it doesn't just, there's no one size fits all to this. And because there isn't a one size fits all, and we know some countries have done quite well and other ones haven't, it's when 6 months down the line, or thereabouts, we suddenly get new advice, the rule of 6 now. Why is it not 7? Okay, you've got to draw the line somewhere, I guess. Then straight away the confusion sets in. Why can I go on the school run and mix with 25 people? How can that be? How can I go to the pub tonight and mix with 25 people? How could that be? Well, because they're not on your table. Are you serious? But the table's there. The other table's there. The other 6 are literally sitting next to me. Yeah, that's a different 6 though, isn't it? Yeah, but nature doesn't know that. Nature doesn't come along with its big viral intentions and suddenly go, I'm about to infect this group of swines on table 73. But 74 won't be getting it. Just 73. Because that's how I roll. Because I'm a virus. Doesn't do that. This is the kind of nonsense that makes people not want to obey the rules. So I'm going to throw the question out in a very route one kind of fashion. Will you be obeying the rule of 6? 0344 499 1000. And can I just throw this element in there? If the rule of 6 to you is nonsensical, what should the rule be? What would the rule have been that you would have said, now that makes sense? I'm sort of thinking there probably isn't one that we could all sing from the same hymn sheet and say, yeah, that's it. Now it makes sense. Rule of 20? Yeah, okay, we'll do the rule of 20. I'm sure the rule of 6 is based on something. My problem is you can have a big old scientist pitch up on behalf of the government and say, yep, rule of 6 makes perfect. We've had to come up with a number, and we came up with a number. We didn't roll a dice. We looked at the data. And then another medic, clinician, virologist, epidemiologist, microbiologist, philanthropist, anyone you like, anything that's got an ist or an ologist at the end of it, will come along and say, no, actually, I disagree with that. And these are the reasons why. It's like Mike Graham was talking about the R number. And it's that level of confusion. I think we've lost we've completely lost faith in advice because we are seeing that the advice doesn't always come to fruition in the way that our political masters are perhaps telling us. 0344 499 1000. Very simple question. Will you be obeying the rule of 6? If not, why not? And if you're running with it, I'd like to know why you're going to run with it also. I mean, there is an argument that says, look, we don't know, best practice, let's just give it a go. Similar face mask, we don't fully know. We know there's not any definitive evidence. There are pockets of, there are elements of, there are anecdotal parts of, but just in case, let's run with it. 0344 499 1000. You're listening to Ian Collins on Talk Radio.